spot the difference. Just kidding, I'm sure you can. So, old fairing, cracked, busted, gross. New fairing, like a baby's ass, it's just completely pure. So pure, in fact, that it's missing holes. Now you can see the windshield holes are not here, but there's a little bit of an indent in here, which is interesting. There's one there. Is that one there? No, not one there. Not one there. There's one there. The mirror holes not here. There looks like there's a mark there, but that's obviously not where I drill. That one maybe there's a little bit of an indent there. So I got to figure those out. The covers for the turn signals, obviously I got to drill that out and all that stuff. And then also there's these little imperfections. Like if you could see, there's a little bit of lines here that almost look like they could be taken care of with spot putty, which I think I might do. And then there's also like little cracks like that, like high rises like that. So little nibs like right there. So there are some imperfections on the Airtech replacement fairing, which I guess is to be expected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this thing, I'm going to try and circle all the marks that I see that look like they're a little high and just knock those down with some super fine sandpaper. And then as far as like stuff like this, that's like a big mess as far as like little itty bitty gouges. I'll prime this thing and see if they show. If they do, then obviously I have to put spot putty on it to cover it all. Well, actually, for here specifically, it can just be covered up by the vinyl graphic, so it's not a big deal. But like places like here, on top of here, like that's not going to be covered by graphics, so that will show. So I got to make sure that it doesn't. And then this little flap right here, you can see hello, boop, 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 boop. It's just non-existent here. So I got to take a Dremel and drill that out. So, you know, some assembly required, some work needed to make it all fit together correctly. So that's what I'm going to do. For now, all I'm going to concern myself with is knocking down these high point, like these little imperfections with some sandpaper and being super careful, because see how flimsy this is? Ugh, super flimsy. So do that, cut that out, cut out the holes for the turn signals and such, and then how to mount this thing, this little holder here. This inner guy right here looks like it's just molded, or is it? No, it's not. So I do have to retain this little guy here, which is cracked over here. It's just, yeah, it's just cracked. There's nothing I can do about it. Ow, there we go. But it's a hairline, so I think I might try to repair that. I wanted to try and repair. Let's see if I could. This side is discernibly worse than the other side. This is the side that had the accident. So I'm going to try and repair this one with like some extra plastic I have upstairs. See if I can at least even do it. I think I'll keep it on the fairing just so that I know how it lines up and, you know, make sure it's all okay. But what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to run to Home Depot. I'm going to get some... Wait, what's going on here? What's up with this? Oh, it does the same thing. Oh, never mind. I'm going to run to Home Depot. I'm going to get some white paint, because honestly, this white is like whatever. Like it's just white. Like it's hard to mess up white. I'm not going to worry about color matching this. I will worry about color matching this. But yeah, white, no big deal. And also as far as clear goes, also no big deal, because like it's never going to touch gas. So I don't need to spend the money on like automotive grade clear. I just need to make sure that the clear I use is flexible. And I think I also, like, yeah, that's one thing. Being that it's plastic and it's going to flex, I need to get, I believe it's enamel paint, or is it acrylic? I need to do my research. One is softer than the other one, and I need to get the one that's softest because it'll allow a little bit of flex in the plastic and it won't tear it apart, or it won't just crack the second that it gets a little bit of flex, which I think happened down here. These little marks here, that's probably what happened. So I'm gonna get some flexible paint. I'm gonna do my research on clear and make sure that the clear that I use is at least quasi-flexible, because if I get a super hard clear, then it's just gonna crack. But yeah, that's enough about this. Painting things. This is the front part of the cowling mount. Just painting that because I finally got it all bent into place and lining up with this guy, which is the mirror mount that starts at that like goes where the tank is. And also just that little guy. Just painting that. And then the ram air tubes, painting those guys too. Yeah, just quick coat of paint, no big deal. Just make the whole riding experience, because I'm going to be looking at this stuff all the time, just make that look a little better, a little less sloppy. But yeah, time to run to the depot. And did I just get the wind taken out of my sails a little bit here? So I'm disassembling. This is the old fairing. These things that mount the headlights to the fairing, they don't exist on the new fairing. That is, I guess, to be expected. Same thing with this. These little mounting points don't exist on the new one. Same thing with this one for the inner fairing. That doesn't exist either. So what do? I'm thinking what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to cut these off at the base right here, and then liberally apply plastic JB weld that's meant for plastic all around here, and just hope for the best. JB should be strong enough to deal with that. I see no reason why it wouldn't be. Even if I used the method of melting plastic down with acetone and smearing it all over there, it's pretty much the same shit as JB weld, so whatever, there you go. Another thing that kind of sucks is I noticed that this inner fairing here is all in one piece. It's got this little thing that goes over the side. This one does not. So the chances of me finding this new inner fairing online are slim to nil, but at least I do have a good one here that I may be able to build off of. But there's like this little lip that exists here that kind of stinks. But I think what this actually does is, I think all it does is fit underneath the side fairings. So it actually might not even, this little bit right here might not even be like useful. I might be able to skimp by that one, but I still like having it for this inner part here. I still want to keep that. So this not being here, I don't know, it might not be a big deal. Yeah, might not matter. So we'll see. We'll see when I start assembling all this stuff. The way that these little guys, these little covers fit on here is kind of interesting. It's these little specs here, these little tabs here, or what do you call them, poles, and there's like a little bit of threaded business on them. They fit on here, comes through that side right there, and then there's a little like sort of thumb screw that goes on there, and that's what holds that on. This side's one, this broke off in my hand when I was trying to undo it, so you know, that's that. So that's not like too hard, because I can always just like JB weld that back into place. But on this side, it's the accident side. It's a whole nother thing. Like this one has obviously been snapped off, so there's no help there. And then the upper one is being held on the other side by a screw. So I'll see if I could find these guys lying around on eBay, but I highly, highly doubt it. There are ways that I can repair this, and I will, but I'm just lamenting a little bit that I'm not going to be, most likely not going to be able to get this done today. It's probably going to take a few days. Maybe over the weekend. I don't know. I do have this stuff. I got it because it's available like everywhere. This sort of like Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch. It says it's plastic safe, it bonds to plastic. Whether or not that means it's going to be able to flex around is a whole nother thing, but we'll see. We'll see how this works. I'm fairly confident in this stuff. But I like it because it's everywhere, and if I use this as the white for this, I'll be able to easily get the same white for the side fairings. I can make that color match really, really easy. Not even an issue whatsoever. It's that purple that's the hard part. I gotta figure that one out. Yeah, so I'm just gonna cut this stuff off and blibbity blobbity whatever. Alright, so I got the Airtech fairing on the bench. Reason being, I was starting to knock down these little nibs here, but the one thing I noticed was that the top line of this fairing, there were bumps. They were like visible. Well, it kind of, to me it was visible that there were like little bumps and imperfections here and made it a little bit wavy across. So I've been hitting it with some sandpaper to, you know, even it out. Another thing to consider buying these Airtech secondhand pressed fairings. You know, there's going to be imperfections like that, so get ready to sand. So I did some more work with the sander, and I took some 100 grit, and now I'm happy with the curve of this. And also I did it down here on both sides underneath. Pretty much gave all the edges of the fairing a once over just to make sure everything was cool. I took my router on my Dremel and I cut this out. I nicked spot there and there, so I'm going to use some spot putty just to clean that up a little bit. But yeah, it actually went not too bad. Got an opening now. Hello. So now, oh, and also I tested the sandable filler primer I have, this stuff. I tested this out to see like just how well it would fill. Like all these like tiny itty bitty little hair marks here, like that are barely visible except like under light. And this one had a few. And it turned out not too bad. I mean, I think if I just put another coat, like maybe like 2 coats of this filler primer on there, I think it might actually cover up the majority of those little imperfections. So plus mark. Yeah, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the old fairing and start cutting off, whoops, and start cutting off the tabs and get ready to plastic weld them. We are drying. So here's what I did. First of all, I got this Loctite plastic epoxy. Although I think this is fiberglass, not plastic. Whatever. This is plastic though. So these are little nubbies I cut off. And I got 3 others over there. I'm currently setting this one over here. I'm just trying it out. So what I did is I put the bottom of this little guy, I slathered all sorts of epoxy on it, stuck it on there, got it in place, and then put some more on the right side just to kind of hold it. So, and then I know it's in line because, you know, once these headlights fall in, like there's only one, like there's no wiggle room whatsoever. Like it's just, it's in place. So I'm waiting another like 15 minutes to see if this stuff, you know, I gotta let it like undisturbed sit for apparently like 20 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna wiggle this around and see if it's kind of holding, and then I will put so much of this stuff, so much of this epoxy around there to hold it in place. So essentially I'm tacking it in place right now. And then I'm gonna, once I'm happy with that one all slathered up, and I'll do that one, and then that one, and then that one, in the same way. One at a time, just to make sure that they're all lined up. And then I'm gonna do this one, do the 2 bolts on there, do the holders for like there, for like that little like inner fairing bit. Yeah, and then that's it. So this isn't like, you know, shouldn't be too crazy, shouldn't be too nuts. Should work, I hope. This stuff is good for 3,200 pounds of pressure, so I assume that it will be able to hold these 5-pound headlight assembly in place. Let's hope. Alright, let's see what we're working with here. Ooh, rock hard. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Sweet. So yeah, I'm gonna put epoxy all around this thing, just slather this beast, and then go and put the other ones there. You don't need to see that though.